What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the Yankees, and I'm going to talk about the Mets as spring training begins. What does Giancarlo Stanton injury mean? What does Frankie Montas' injury mean? And what's the Mets' potential lineup? I'll also weigh in on the Four Nations face-off over on the NHL side. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Got the wall. He jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode, and I want to start with the Yankees thing, and I want to start with Giancarlo Stanton. It feels like year after year after year after year, we are talking about these soft tissue injuries, these injuries where it's his elbow or his oblique or his hamstring, where he'll miss easily 3 to 4 weeks. It'll take him a while to get his timing back, and then he'll get hot in October and have a big-time playoff performance like he did last season. So for Stanton, I'm not very worried right now. I think he'll be fine. The report that he hasn't swung a bat in 3 to 4 weeks, it doesn't worry me because you don't want Stanton for opening day. You don't need Stanton for opening day. You need Giancarlo Stanton in October, in the ALDS, in the ALCS, and maybe in the World Series. That's where you need Giancarlo Stanton. Not in April, not in May. You want him back in June so we could have that little slump. He could get hot. He could have those ebbs and flows that we always talk about in the baseball season. Giancarlo Stanton needs time for that to happen. So you want him back probably June would be like the sweet spot if he's going to miss multiple months. I think June would be the best time for Stanton to come back in that case scenario. But who knows? He could be ready for opening day. It's Giancarlo Stanton's a DH. He doesn't need time to get his fielding ready. He just needs time to get his swing ready, to get his timing down. That's all he needs. And I think Aaron Boone is comfortable enough to throw Big G in the lineup opening day, even if he hasn't had a ton of work in the cage, even if he hasn't faced a lot of pitchers in live ABs, even if he hasn't played any competition in spring training games, whatever competition you get out of spring training games. I think Boone would throw him in the lineup without hesitation. I don't think it's crazy to say that he won't be ready for opening day without a doubt, because I just don't think that's accurate. I think he could definitely be ready for opening day, and we could be overreacting. I mean, 3 to 4 weeks, the season doesn't start for another month or so he's got another 4 weeks to ramp up at least. Let me see when Yankees opening day is. So the Yankees play the Brewers opening day. It's March 27th. Today is February 27th. He's got a month and 10 days to ramp up. That is plenty of time if you're Giancarlo Stanton, especially if you're a designated hitter like I mentioned. That's the biggest thing to me. If he was a left fielder or a shortstop or a second baseman or a third baseman, yeah, you need a little bit more time to get your legs under you. You need a little bit more time to get your arm right, to get your swing right, to get your fielding right. But no, Stanton, he just steps in there and mashes. I mean, the dude is built like a mammoth. He is massive. And so I think he'll be fine, even if he doesn't start opening day, even if he's not ready in April, even if he's not ready in May, heck, even if he's not ready before the All-Star break, he will be fine. He just needs to hit. He just needs to figure out his timing for, I don't know, a couple weeks of baseball. That's all it'll be. So I'm not too worried about Stanton. All right, let me get to the other part that I'm worried about for the Yankees, and I think this is with everyone, third base. I think that's the biggest question mark. That's the biggest gaping hole of the Yankees lineup, of their field, who's playing defense, who's going to hit at third base. My vote goes to DJ LeMahieu for the first month of the season. For April. Just for April. And if DJ LeMahieu sucks in April, then you throw Oswaldo Cabrera out there. That's my plan. So you start DJ LeMahieu opening day. You let him run free for a month. Maybe he performs. Maybe he doesn't. But if he doesn't, the Yankees are still going to win a lot of games. The Yankees are still going to be well over 500. I have no doubt about that. But if he doesn't perform, you just put Cabrera out there. I don't think it's too big of a challenge for Cabrera. And if that doesn't work, you move Jazz to third base and you put Oswaldo Peraza at second base. There is a lot of options. It's just about finding who's the best option and who's going to be the most reliable at any point in the season. And I do get the concern that Yankee fans have with this team. I get their concerns with this lineup, with third base, with second base. Because I'm going to be honest. With Oswaldo Peraza, it's unknown. With DJ LeMahieu, he's most likely washed. With Jason Dominguez in the outfield, you don't know what he's going to be. This is like his 7th rookie season. He's had injuries upon injuries. It took him a long time to get to the majors. But hopefully, he's seasoned from playing all those minor league games, and he performs at a high level this year. If you're a Yankee fan, that's what you want to see. And then, all right, Yankee fans, let me ask you a question here. So you have 3 guys that are past their prime on your team. You got DJ LeMahieu, who I think has a chance at being the third baseman. You have Paul Goldschmidt at first base, who wasn't an MVP at a point in his career. And you have Cody Bellinger, who was an MVP with the Dodgers in 2019. Which one of those players would you rather turn back the clock and perform like their MVP selves? I'm not saying they're going to win the MVP, but I'm just saying which one would you rather play like an MVP? DJ LeMahieu, who has the chance to turn into La Machina and just turn it on and start hitting 315, 320 at any point. Cody Bellinger, who was ridiculous in his MVP season, or Paul Goldschmidt, and who everybody knows about their prime, his heyday. Paul Goldschmidt was special in the 2010s. If I had to choose as a Mets fan, I would say DJ LeMahieu, because you have 2 guys in Paul Goldschmidt and Cody Bellinger that you know are going to perform at a serviceable level. They might not be anything special. They might not be the best players on the team. Heck, they might not even be top 3 players on this team. But they'll be good enough. They'll hit 270, 280. They'll get by. DJ LeMahieu has potential to hit 135. DJ LeMahieu has a chance to be absolutely terrible and just derail the position for the Yankees if Aaron Boone decides to stick with him, if Aaron Boone even decides to start him opening day. So if I had to choose one of these 3 guys in DJ LeMahieu, Paul Goldschmidt, or Cody Bellinger to turn back the clock, I'm choosing DJ LeMahieu. You take the worst of the 3 and then make them play the best, because you know you're going to get solid enough performance out of the other 2 is my thinking. All right, let's transition to the Mets side of the things. And I'm going to start with Pete Alonso because I haven't gotten a chance to weigh in on this yet. I've been sick over the past week. I haven't been able to talk. It's been brutal. I wasn't able to do a Super Bowl recap. Wasn't able to talk, But we're back now. We're better than ever. We're going full force into baseball season. But Pete Alonso, I love this signing. I think it shaked out perfectly for the New York Mets. I think David Stearns had an absolute masterclass. Everyone was hesitant. Everyone said, David, just go get Pete Alonso. It's not going to matter to Steve Cohen. You got to adjust to the New York market. You got to reach into Cohen's pockets a little bit. But David Stearns was patient, and David Stearns waited until Pete Alonso had no other option but to come back to the Mets, until his market was so slim that the best contract available was 2 years, $54 million. I love it, Stearns. I love everything he did. Great job. I was hesitant. I wanted you to go get Pete Alonso, but in the end of the day, I trust him. And I trust what he's going to do. And I think he's going to continue to make the right moves moving forward for the Mets franchise. I think that's just how things are going to go now. Now that we have such a smart, young executive with such a bright future ahead of him. Pete Alonso does so many things for the Mets lineup. A, he lengthens that middle of the lineup so much. And I'm going to give you my potential lineup in a couple minutes. But if you have Vientos, Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, all those guys, Winker 1 through 6, whatever order you put them, they're going to be pretty gosh darn good. It lengthens the lineup so much. It takes a lot of pressure off Mark Vientos, who is potentially going to have to play first base and step up as really the leading power hitter on this team. Because, Soto's going to hit a bunch of bombs. Lindor will crank out about 30, 25. He'll be up around 30 numbers is the point I'm trying to make. But now you get Pete. Let's say you get 25 from Lindor. You get 36, 35 for easy numbers from Soto. You get another 35 from Vientos, and then Pete has a good year and adds on another 40. I think those numbers are pretty reasonable. I don't have the projections in front of me, but I feel like they always criminally underrate the players. I think the players, it's more often that they blow those out of the water than they underperform to them. And there are cases that they underperform, but for the most part, players of the stature of a Juan Soto, of a Francisco Lindor, of even a Pete Alonso, Mark Vientos, they usually do better than their projections. So I'm excited. I'm so excited for baseball season. Like, this winter season has just gone on and on and on. We're finally getting to February. Finally getting to spring training. It feels like spring training today with the injuries that have gone on. But first, I'm going to stay on Pete Alonso before I get to Frankie Montas, because I do have some stuff to say about Frankie Montas. Pete Alonso, I already mentioned how much he lengthens the lineup. Now I just want to talk about the protection it adds for Juan Soto, the protection it adds for Mark Vientos, the protection it adds for Francisco Lindor. I was questioned, and a lot of other people were questioned, what is Juan Soto's protection? We know Francisco Lindor is protected by Juan Soto. What is Mark Vientos' protection? Now it is Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso will be the power hitter, the thumper, the guy hitting mammoth home runs night in and night out to protect everyone in this Mets lineup. Personally, and I'll get to my potential lineup now, I want Pete Alonso to hit fourth. All right, here's my potential lineup. Hitting it in the leadoff spot, Francisco Lindor, obviously the captain, the leader of this team. Not officially captain, but I'm going to call him the captain. In the 2 spot, Juan Soto, I think that's pretty customary. Your best hitter should hit second, and I think Juan Soto is the Mets' best hitter. And I guess some people say it should be third. I think second is the better spot for Juan Soto. At 3, Mark Vientos, and 3 and 4 is where the commotion is. I think Mark Vientos should be the 3-hole hitter. He has shown the ability to hit the ball out of the park. He has shown the ability to hit for more average than Pete Alonso. He should be third, driving in Lindor and Soto in sometimes, and also getting on base ahead of Pete Alonso, who's hitting fourth. The cleanup spot. He's supposed to clean up the bases, hit 45, 50 homers. Pete, let's go. You're a 4-hitter. You are a traditional cleanup hitter. That is what I want to see out of you. In the 5 spot, I have Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker is the DH, and you could swap it out with Starling Marte, who I believe will be the DH for righty-lefty platoon. I would favor Jesse Winker against some lefties, though, just because I don't want to run Marte out there too often. But he will be a valuable part of this team. At 6, I got Brandon Nimmo playing left field. Had a pretty solid year in his first year playing left last year. Had to slide over because Bader joined the team, and he's the better defensive center fielder. And then in the 7th spot, we got Francisco Alvarez catching. I think I'm looking for Alvarez to take a really big jump this year. He showed a lot of maturity behind the plate last year, but now I need to see him get it going with the bat and keep it going all the way through. We've seen flashes from him. We've seen what he can do. Now I just want to see it throughout the whole year. In the 8th spot, I have Luis Angel Acuna playing second base. I swear, if Jeff McNeil is playing second base to start this season, I am going to be so mad. David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza cannot let that happen. I don't care if it's angry squirrel Jeff or it's happy Jeff. Luis Angel Acuna is the future. He's a young gun on this team that has the ability to produce. Just look what he did last year in the couple weeks he was up to end the season. He was hitting over 300. The dude was a machine to end that year. and a big part of our playoff push late in the season. And hitting ninth is Tyrone Taylor. I would favor him over Jose Siri. I know Jose Siri will get a good amount of run, but those two platoon them. I think they're both righties, so it wouldn't really matter. But you play them pretty interchangeable. Whoever you're feeling, whoever's hitting better, you choose. All right, let me get to the Frankie Montas stuff, and then I want to talk about this Four Nations stuff with the hockey because it has been electric to watch. I'm just going to talk about it for a minute or two at the end, but I just want to give my thoughts on it. Frankie Montas was a risk that David Stearns was willing to take. It was a risk, a big risk, because we have seen over the past 4 or 5 years with Frankie Montas, he struggles to stay on the field. Exhibit A when he was a New York Yankee. We've seen it. But David Stearns thought this pitching lab could fix him. Thought Montas would be able to stay healthy for a season. Early returns, he is not. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a lat strain, which isn't great. But you gotta react to it. It's Griffin Canning's turn. It's Paul Blackburn's turn. It's Tyler McGill's turn. The Mets rotation actually has a lot more depth than I gave them credit for, and than I think a lot of people gave them credit for, because they do have guys that I think can be good enough to make MLB starts. I mean, Paul Blackburn has been a career 5th or 6th man in the rotation, but he's been good enough to do it. We've seen Tyler McGill has been good enough to pitch at an MLB level over the past 3-4 years. Since that 2022 season when he turned into Tyler McGill for the first month and a half of the year, and was pretty much unstoppable after making the opening day start. That's hilarious that was the 101-win season and Tyler McGill was the opening day starter. But we've seen he can do it. You also bring Griffin Canning in from the Angels. He played there last year. Killer changeup. I'm interested to see what he can do. And I do think Clay Holmes has a lot of upside. I think Clay Holmes will be able to be a good pitcher. I think he'll be solid enough for the Mets. And they might be able to turn him around. He might be this year's Luis Severino, where he's not a cream of the crop pitcher heading into free agency. But he's a guy that'll make more money than he's making now with the Mets. So overall, I do think the Mets rotation is going to be fine. It sucks that Montas is hurt because he can be a good pitcher when he's on the field. He just struggles to stay on the field a lot. It is a struggle to keep Frankie Montas on the field. But it's whatever. The Mets are going to be good. The Mets are going to win a lot of games, and so are the Yankees. New York baseball is going to be so much fun this year, and I cannot wait for it. All right, now let me weigh on this Four Nations hockey tournament that the NHL is doing. So as you guys know, I'm not a big hockey guy. I mean, I barely watch besides the playoffs. I should start watching. And this Four Nations hockey tournament is making me want to get into hockey so bad. I think I'm going to down the stretch of this year. Maybe I'll be able to talk about it by playoff time. That might be pushing it a little bit. But the NHL absolutely took a great approach because this is replacing their All-Star Weekend. This is replacing their Winter Classic, I think they called it. Which was their All-Star game that I don't think anyone tuned into. But these guys representing their country. I mean, I was watching USA Canada and it got me hooked. I mean, I got USA Sweden on over here. USA's up 1-0. I am hooked on this Four Nations thing. 3 fights in 9 seconds. I put a video about it on my Instagram. Go follow that at @thesportspot_bet. And it's also linked in the description below, along with all my socials. Go check them all out. But it was so much fun. 3 scrums in the first 9 seconds. Matthew and Brady Tkachuk, both Tkachuk brothers, getting penalties early in the game. USA wins 3-1. USA. It was awesome to watch. It was intense. It was competitive. It was electric. It checked all the boxes. So I would look for the NBA. I mean, I feel like we have to take the All-Star game with a grain of salt, because I don't think it will. I don't think it's getting better than this. I don't think there's anything you could do unless you pay the players multiple millions of dollars to play harder. I just don't think it's on their minds. I think they're more worried about playing for their teams, which sucks because we used to see guys play with pride. I mean, the 2010s and 2016 All-Star Weekend was the best All-Star Weekend of all time, in my opinion. Granted, I wasn't alive for a lot of them. But getting back to the hockey, it's so electric. It's so much fun. Like, just these hits are insane. And so maybe hockey content might be coming on the way down the stretch of this season. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. But for now, I'm Ben Ballion. If you enjoyed, please make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend. I really appreciate it. Make sure you check out all the links in the description below. Please leave me a voicemail at 848-305-8073 with your sports questions and takes. I'll react to all of them as soon as you do it in the next episode. But for now, I'm Ben Ballion, and make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.